Hi, thank you for attending our home buying workshop this weekend. I'm so excited that you are here with me. My name is Kayla Diepa. I am the broker and owner of Nexus Realty Group. I have sold over 500 homes and I specialize in working with buyers just like you. This informational workshop will give you all the tools you need to buy your home with confidence. We're going to cover the 5 steps to buying your first home, or even if this is your third or fourth home, maybe even an investment home. How to avoid common and costly first-time buyer mistakes. What to expect during the search, offer, and closing process. What local programs, grants, and incentives are available right now. Why new real estate rules require a buyer agency agreement before showings. How to win in today's competitive market without overspending, and a live Q&A, common questions I get from buyers. I also have a bonus for you today. We are going to get one of my preferred lenders on this Zoom to answer the financial aspects of what you are going to see as a first-time home buyer or even a third-time home buyer. He's going to cover how to get pre-approved and what you'll actually need. He's going to cover what credit score and income you really need to qualify, loan options, FHA, conventional, USDA, what's best for you, how to qualify for down payment or closing cost assistance, and what not to do financially before and during the buying process. So it'll be a nice bonus for you. When the class is done, I'll also give you the freebies and downloadable PDFs that you can keep and reference to whenever you need so. Thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoy. Today, we're going to cover everything you need to know to confidently buy your first home. That includes how to qualify for a loan, how much money you really need, choosing the right home, and how to avoid common mistakes. I'll give you a checklist at the end to help you take the next steps. This seminar is perfect for first-time homebuyers, people who haven't bought in a while, or anyone feeling overwhelmed by the process. Don't worry, I am going to break everything down in simple terms so you can move forward with confidence. As an added bonus to this webinar, we are going to speak one-on-one with our preferred lender and one top producer at the end of this seminar. So stay tuned. But right now, let's talk about the importance of getting pre-approved. The first step is getting pre-approved. This isn't just about knowing your budget. It shows sellers that you're serious. I'll connect you with trusted lenders who offer programs for first-time buyers, down payment assistance, loans for entrepreneurs, or maybe if you're even looking to build a home. Now, before we start the search, let's talk numbers. You don't need 20% down. There are programs that allow 3% or even 0% down to qualify. And yes, I'll help you apply for grants or down payment assistance if you're eligible. Now, your credit score, income, and debt to income ratio all matter, but don't stress. Even if your credit isn't perfect, there are still options. I'll show you what lenders look for and how to prepare before applying. Now for the fun part, house hunting. I'll help you find homes that fit your lifestyle, your budget, and your goals. We'll use the MLS, and I'll set you up with alerts so you're the first to know when something good hits the market. Let's talk about the buyer brokerage agreement. And I want to clear the air right now. This is not a contract to lock you in and take your money. This agreement is required in Georgia before I can legally show you homes. It's a form that says I represent you, not the seller. It protects your interests and confirms that I'm working for you, not the other side. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. It does not cost you anything out of pocket. The seller typically pays the commission for both agents, so I work for you, but you don't pay me directly. Now, is this negotiable? Yes. So we will review that on every agreement, because if for any reason the seller doesn't pay, whatever's on your buyer brokerage agreement, we would have to adhere to. And here's something I think is important. My agreement with buyers is flexible. If at any point you feel like it's not working out or your plans change, you can cancel the agreement. No pressure, no penalty. This agreement just allows me to fully advocate for you, get access to listings, schedule showings, and negotiate in your best interest. I take my job seriously, and this agreement lets me show up 100% for you from day one. When you find the one, the home that just feels right, it's time to make an offer. This includes price, closing timeline, any contingencies like financing or inspection, and your earnest money deposit, which shows you're serious. I'll guide you through writing a strong offer based on market data. And if we're in a multiple offer situation, I'll help you stand out without overpaying. The goal here is to win the home, but also protect your interests. Offer is accepted. Congratulations, by the way. We moved into what's called the due diligence period. This is your chance to do a full home inspection and make sure everything checks out before you officially commit. Let's talk about the home inspection first. This inspection is typically scheduled within the first few days after going under contract, and this is an out-of-pocket cost to you as the buyer. A licensed inspector will come out and look at everything: the roof, HVAC system, plumbing, electrical, appliances, foundation, even the attic and crawl space if the home has them. Now, the part is important. No home is perfect, even new construction. So you might see a long report, but not everything is a deal breaker. I'll go over the inspection results with you and help you decide what's reasonable to ask the seller to repair or credit you for. And remember, if something major comes up like structural issues or safety concerns, you have the right to walk away and get your earnest money back. This is your protection. Next is the appraisal, which is another another out-of-pocket cost to you. Now, your lender will order the appraisal to make sure the home is worth what you're paying. The appraiser is independent and works for the lender, not me or the seller. If the value comes in lower than our offer, we'll have options like renegotiating the price, asking the seller to adjust, or covering the difference if it makes sense. The goal is to make sure you're not overpaying. And I'll walk you through the process, if anything pops up during this process. Between the inspection and the appraisal, we're doing two big things: protecting your wallet and making sure you're buying a solid, sound home. You are never alone during this process. I'll guide you through every document, every contractor, every step, and make sure your investment is protected.
Hello everyone, my name is Abe Faraj, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage. My NMLS number is 1247704. My direct cell phone, 313-330-5417. You can also find me on Instagram at abe.faraj_the People's Banker. I've been here with Rocket Mortgage for 11 years, and I've been a proud partner and preferred lending partner of Kayla Dieppe for the last 8 years. So first and foremost, I would like to say thank you, Kayla, for allowing me to jump on this webinar and helping these future homeowners set themselves up for success. My goal here is to try to help answer some commonly asked questions. Now remember, not everybody, fits in a box. Everybody has their own creative scenario. So our goal is to try to tailor something specific to each individual person. But first, we want to help set you up for success by answering some commonly asked questions. So this way, you know how to start and begin the home buying journey. So first and foremost, how to get pre-approved or pre-qualified and what you'll need. Now, the first things first, you want to have a conversation with a lender like myself. What we're going to do is we're going to have a 10 to 15 minute conversation regarding your income, regarding your assets, regarding your credit. The easiest way to remember is the 3 keys to get your keys: income, assets, and credit. So pretty much for income, you have to have some type of 2-year work history. Now, if you're W-2, you need to have a 2-year work history. It doesn't have to be with the same employer 2 years straight. You just have to have a combined 2-year work history, even if that means we go, far back 5-6 years ago when you worked a W-2 job. As long as we can combine a total of 2 years, that's what you're going to need. So remember, 2-year work history, whether W-2 or whether self-employed, because self-employed, you're still going to need 2 years of tax returns. So I would prepare you as a first-time home buyer or even a seasoned veteran to prepare your last 2 to 4 pay stubs, to prepare your last 2 years of W-2s or tax returns, and your last 2 months of bank statements. That's simply put, 2 pay stubs, 2 W-2s, 2 tax returns, 2 bank statements. Now, different situations, you might require different documentation, but that is the standard kind of where we start as far as documentation is concerned. So get your pay stubs ready, get your W-2s ready, your tax returns, and your bank statements. And if there's anything more needed, we will let you know after you have that consultation, after we can try to get you pre-qualified. Now, as far as credit scores, what type of credit score do you need to have, and what type of income do you need to have? Now, credit score-wise, of course, the higher the better. But at the bare minimum, you're going to need at least a 580 or higher FICO score. Now remember, we pull all 3 credit scores, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So the middle of those 3 scores is the one that we're going to use to qualify you. And as long as that's at a 580 or higher, you're going to have a chance at qualifying. Now, the higher the better, because the higher your credit score, the more you might be able to qualify for, the more favorable interest rate and pricing you're going to be able to get. So the higher the better, of course, but if you're at a 580 or higher, you have an opportunity of being able to qualify. Now, if you're not there, it's okay, because we have credit resources to be able to help you put together a credit game plan for success with that credit specialist team that we have for free, complimentary on the house. But 580 or higher at the minimum as far as credit is concerned. Now, when it comes to income, income is all going to depend on the type of price range you're trying to qualify for, as well as your overall debts. But the easiest way to think about it is your income has to be, so your monthly debts cannot exceed more than 50% of your monthly income. And those monthly debts consist of your car loan, student loans, credit cards, and the new mortgage payment. So as long as all those debts do not exceed 50% of your overall gross monthly income, then that's typically where you need to be, because you need to have around a 50% debt to income ratio. And remember, it's your gross income. So it's before your taxes are taken out. That's the income that we use to qualify you. Now, as far as loan options are concerned, like what type of loan options are out there? You have your standard FHA loans, conventional loans, VA loans, USDA loans. Now let's start with FHA. FHA is typically for somebody that has a lower credit score that cannot qualify for like a conventional loan. So FHA, you're going to have a 580 or higher credit score. And the minimum down payment on the FHA is going to be 3.5% down. Now the great thing about the FHA is you can buy a multi-unit property, 2 to 4 unit residential property that you plan on living in, like living in 1 unit and renting out the rest, and you only have to put 3.5% down. So FHA is it's an easier loan to qualify, and it's usually there for people that couldn't qualify for a conventional loan, which has a little bit more strict guidelines. So FHA allows you to qualify for more money because it allows your overall debt to income ratio to go up to 57%, and it allows you to qualify with a lower credit score with at least a 580 or higher. Now, conventional loan. A conventional loan is backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Pretty much the government, it's like private investors. Now, conventional loans, you can put as little as 1% down as a first-time home buyer, or 3% down if you already owned a home in the past. Now, the conventional loan, you typically need to have a 620 or higher credit score. So that's why it's a little harder to qualify compared to an FHA. But 620 or higher credit score, and your overall debt to income ratio cannot exceed 50%. So this is why you're able to qualify for more money on a FHA compared to a conventional loan. But if you're somebody that has, a 700 plus credit score, putting, 10 to 20% down, conventional loans are going to be the route you want to go. But if you, have a lower credit score and don't have that much to put down, FHA is an amazing route to go. Now we have VA loans. VA loans are for our veterans. For our veterans, one of the best loans out there. It's a 0% down loan. Can only be, only veterans and surviving spouses of a veteran can apply for it. It allows you to qualify with a 580 or higher credit score, and allows your overall debt to income ratio to go up to 60%. So it's a great product because it has low interest rates. It has a higher ratio requirement, so you're able to qualify for more money with putting, zero down. But again, you have to be a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran to be able to qualify for it. You cannot co-sign with the veteran. Only the veteran, their spouse, and the surviving spouse of a veteran can take advantage of the VA loan. And then you have USDA loans. USDA stands for U.S. Department of Agriculture. So this is a 100% financing, zero down loan. It has very similar requirements to the FHA loan or the Federal Housing Administration loan. But the difference is it's zero down. It's usually for rural areas. So, farmland, maybe out in the country, and it allows you to put zero down. Now, it's a little bit more strict than the FHA, very similar as far as the FHA low is a 580, but, if you make too much income, sometimes you might not qualify for it. And like I said, it has to be in a rural area. So, not every home is going to qualify for a USDA loan, only specific homes or specific areas. But those are all great products. And there are, many other programs and products out there that can get super creative for self-employed clients, rehab renovation loans, bank statement loans. So it's not just one box fits all. There are many different programs out there, but the FHA, conventional, VA, and USDA are going to be the most common traditional loans out there. All right, great. Now, as far as how can someone qualify for down payment assistance or closing cost assistance? Now, there's many different down payment assistance programs out there and closing cost assistance programs out there. Now, typically you need to have a 620 or higher credit score that to be able to qualify for some type of down payment assistance. But also remember, down payment assistance is meant for lower income individuals. So if you have high income, usually it's going to be more than 80% of the median income for the area. So as long as you're 80% median income, as long as your income is 80% of the median income for the area you're looking to purchase or lower, you're going to have a good chance of qualifying for down payment assistance and closing cost assistance, as well as, credit score of a 620 or higher. Many different down payment assistance out there, but first and foremost, just want to make sure you have a credit score of a 620 or higher. Typically going to be for first-time home buyers. But as I mentioned, there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of programs out there, and we can find one that fits your needs specifically just based off of your overall profile. And then as far as closing cost assistance, it's not going to be as strict as down payment assistance because you're not necessarily going to have income under a certain threshold. It really comes down to the type of programs and promotions that are available. And then also the lender that you work with. Working with myself, being that you'd be referred over by Kayla, we provide at least a 1% lender credit to go towards your closing costs for every single person. Whether you get down payment assistance or not, at the bare minimum, we're going to provide you with at least a 1% lender credit to go towards your closing costs. And then, of course, if there's any other down payment assistance or closing cost assistance that we can apply for, we will absolutely go ahead and try to make that work for you. Now, last thing here, what not to do financially before and during the buying process. Now, you probably heard this a lot, but you don't want to go and buy a car, before you're going to buy a home or during the process of purchasing a home. Because what's going to happen is, or opening up any credit for that matter. Because what happens is when we pull your credit as a lender, if you open up any new debts after the fact during the process of purchasing a home, we will get notified by something called a credit trigger, letting us know that you opened up some type of debt. And now we have to go ahead and pull your credit again. Then we have to get the documentation for that debt. And that could absolutely disqualify you. So do not open up any type of credit, car loans, credit cards, student loans before or during the process of purchasing a home. Of course, you do not want to quit your job. Many people think, all right, cool, I got qualified and now I can just go and quit my job. But just know that the lender is going to do a final verification of employment with your employer to confirm that you still work there before you actually close on the home. So if you quit before closing, guess what? We're going to find out. So don't quit your job. Don't open up any new lines of credit, credit cards, car loans, and just continue building on your credit. Don't get your credit pulled. Continue saving up funds. Don't just stop saving up funds. But that's what you should not do financially before and during the process. Now, there's many different situations and scenarios out there. We're more than happy to help answer everybody's questions individually, specific to their situation. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. Again, my name is Abe Faraj. Phone number 313-330-5417. My NMLS phone number is 124-7704. You can find me on Instagram, abe.faraj_the people's banker. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you again, Kayla, for the opportunity. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. Take care.
Before we get into common mistakes, I want to talk about other items outside of skipping the pre-approval, things like that. Other items I don't want you to do either. Now, this part is important. I don't want you to skip the pre-approval, of course, but here are a few things not to do once you go under contract. You don't want to open new credit cards or finance a car. You don't want to change jobs or deposit large sums of cash without documentation. And you don't want to skip your inspection. One small misstep can delay your closing, but don't worry, I'll give you a full list of do's and don'ts once we're under contract. As another freebie with this webinar, I have produced a list of incentives for first-time home buyers, different down payment or closing cost assistance programs. Now, you will get a home buyer toolkit, but I also want to talk about the most common questions so we can review it together. Can I buy a home with student loan debt? Yes. Lenders look at your full financial picture. Can I buy a home if I'm self-employed? Yes. We just need 1 to 2 years of tax returns. What if I don't have money for closing costs? There are ways we can ask the seller to help cover them. Whatever the situation is, I've likely helped someone just like you through it. So let's talk about what happens next. The next step is simple. Let's schedule a free consultation. I'll walk you through what it takes to qualify, what your price range really is, and how we can get you into a home this year. There's no pressure, just real information tailored to you. Use the link below or in the email you received to book your one-on-one session. Or you can just head over to my website at www.kayladiepa.com and book your private consultation. Now, I created a free downloadable home buyer checklist and budget planner for you. Click the link in the description or below this video to get access. You'll also find the link to schedule your consultation. Again, I help dozens of families just like yours, and I'd love to help you too. Thank you for joining the workshop today. I'm glad you attended. I hope you left with so much information today that you can take back and be informed and confident in your purchase. If you have any additional questions or you're ready to book your private consultation, you can go right to my website and book, or you can text me 404-433-5828. Please, I look forward to hearing from you.